this is the maxilla. This maxilla, it forms the lateral wall of the nasal cavity. It forms the floor of the nasal cavity, plus it forms the roof of the oral cavity. ठीक है, this is the maxilla. So it presents, this is the body of the maxilla, and a process that is known as, this is the palatine process. ठीक है, so it generally consists of a body and a process that is known as palatine process. ठीक है, so ये क्या करेगी, lateral wall बनाएगी nasal cavity का, plus it forms the floor of the nasal cavity and the roof of the oral cavity. ठीक है, the body, it presents two surfaces. This is the external surface is there. This external surface, it is convex at the level of this first cheek teeth. This is the first cheek teeth. Here there is a foramen present that is known as, इसको हम बोलते हैं, that is known as infraorbital foramen. ठीक है, this is the infraorbital foramen which transmits infraorbital artery and maxillary nerve. ठीक है, so यहाँ से infraorbital artery and maxillary nerve pass होती है. And at the level of the third cheek teeth, there is a tuberosity here. You can see this is a tuberosity here that is known as facial tuberosity. This facial tuberosity, it goes upwards and joins with the zygomatic bone and forms a facial crust. ठीक है, यहाँ से एक facial crust बनाता है. ठीक है, this is the facial crust. Now coming to the internal surface. The internal surface that is opposite to the surface, that is concave. I will show you here. Here this is the internal surface that is concave, and this internal surface at the middle, this presents a crust that is known as turbinate crust, which gives attachment to the ventral turbinate bone. ठीक है, so this is the internal surface of the body of the maxilla, and this is the crust. ठीक है, just below the crust there is a groove present. यहाँ पे एक groove होता है. This is the groove. This groove that carries nasolacrimal duct. ठीक है, इस groove से nasolacrimal duct निकलता है through the lacrimal canal. ये कहाँ से आएगा? From here. This is the lacrimal fossa. This lacrimal fossa, यहाँ पे क्या होता है? Lacrimal sac. Then it leads to a canal that is known as lacrimal canal. This lacrimal canal from here it opens into the nasal cavity. ये तो यहाँ से क्या निकलेगा? Nasolacrimal duct from here. ठीक है, so यहाँ से आएगा and it leaves from here. That is the nasolacrimal duct. So now coming to the borders. This is the dorsal border. ठीक है, this is the dorsal border. The dorsal border, it joins with the nasal bone, it joins with the lacrimal bone and the zygomatic bone and the premaxilla. And here this is the alveolar border. The alveolar border. The alveolar border जो होता है, that presents 6 alveoli. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here the 6 alveoli are there for the 6 cheek teeth. ठीक है, so this is the alveolar border and this one is the dorsal border. Dorsal border, it articulates with the nasal bone, lacrimal bone, zygomatic, and here is the premaxilla. There are extremities. This is the anterior end. The anterior end, it is pointed, and here it joins with the premaxilla. ठीक है, यहाँ पे प्री मैक्सिला बोन होती है, दिस वन हियर, and this is the posterior end is there. The posterior end it forms the maxillary tuberosity. Here यहाँ पे टूटा हुआ है, यहाँ पे there is a maxillary tuberosity. Medial to this maxillary tuberosity there is a hiatus. This is the maxillary hiatus. ठीक है, this is, इसको क्या बोलते हैं, this is the maxillary hiatus. In the maxillary hiatus, there are three foramens present. This is the large oval-shaped foramen. This is the sphenopalatine foramen. This is sphenopalatine foramen. It transmits sphenopalatine artery and nerve. ठीक है. So here, this one. Show from here. This is the sphenopalatine foramen from here. So यहाँ से क्या जाएगी, sphenopalatine artery and sphenopalatine nerve. ठीक है. Then there is another foramen that is known as posterior palatine foramen. यहाँ से palatine artery and nerve pass होते हैं. This is the posterior palatine foramen. This one. This is the anterior palatine foramen here. Here this is forms a here that is the अंदर से canal बनेगा, and this is the posterior opening of the palatine canal, that is the posterior palatine foramen. This is the anterior palatine foramen here. So in the maxillary hiatus there is sphenopalatine foramen, there is a posterior palatine foramen, and here it is in the form of a fissure. ठीक है, यहाँ पे it is in the that is known as maxillary foramen. I will show you. This is actually the किसकी opening होती है, that is the, I will pass from here, this come from here, you can see from here, this is the maxillary foramen. So maxillary nerve that travels through this infraorbital canal and it leaves through this from here, that is the infraorbital foramen. So here it is infraorbital foramen, this is the infraorbital canal, and यहाँ से the internal opening, that is the maxillary foramen. ठीक है, ये maxillary foramen यहाँ पे है, जहाँ से मैंने तार डाली है इसमें. ठीक है, this one is the sphenopalatine. This is actually in the, that is the palatine bone में होता है ये oval shape sphenopalatine foramen. So this is the, now this is the maxillary hiatus. ठीक है, ये maxillary hiatus हो गया. Now coming to the next part of this maxillary bone, that is, this is the palatine process. This palatine process, and this is the palatine process of the other maxillary bone. So this is in the form of a palate, horizontal palate of the bone, and it forms a part of the hard palate. ये जो है, this इसी को हम बोलते हैं, that is the palatine process. ये क्या बनाएगा, hard palate बनाएगा. And here you can see there it forms a groove for the greater palatine vessels and the nerves के लिए. ठीक है, you can see here there is a groove इस पे palatine process पे, कि जहाँ से blood vessels and nerves pass होती है. ठीक है, so this is the palatine process. This is in the form of a horizontal palate of the bone. ठीक है, इसका anterior end हो गया, इसका posterior end हो गया, and this one, this is the dorsal border, this one, this is the alveolar border, this is the lateral surface, and this one, it is the internal surface. ठीक है, ये external surface हो गया, and this one is the internal surface of the maxilla, of the body of the maxilla. So I hope you understand. This was all about this one, that is the maxilla.